Hey.
Welcome to the latest episode of Dys Dyvas, where two friends with dysautonomia decided to ditch their salt and vinegar chips for a support group. That's the perfect blend of sass and self care. Join us for some serious belly laughs and a healthy dose of sarcasm as we navigate the ups and downs of chronic illness together. Today's episode Disheartened. The problems of being disheartened when you think you're actually going somewhere to receive help. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dys Dyvas.
Hey.
Hey, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
How you doing today?
Not too bad today. I had a good day yesterday, so today should be good too. How about
Amen.
you?
Throw it on the universe. Yeah, I had a couple drama llamas this morning. I know, right? I'm excited. I'm really excited about today's episode. I'm feeling good.
Me too. Me too. And I have to make a disclosure that I do have a Band-Aid on my lip because it was bleeding, so I didn't want that to be an issue in the middle of the show.
I can't even see it.
Yeah, it's like there. It's bugging me, but if I didn't, my lip cracked and it was bleeding, I'm like, oh, great. Just
So
another part of having multiple autoimmune issues. No big deal.
I know. Before we start, you want to share your news about the new clinic? Because I think that's a big deal.
I am so excited. Yesterday, I saw a doctor in Central Florida. His name is Dr. Bello. And I waited probably 6 months to see Dr. Bello. And the irony about trying to get to see Dr. Bello was, if you remember my little impromptu video last week from the emergency room, I was on my way to see this doctor when I got sidelined with the drama llama and ended up in the ER. So I got rescheduled for yesterday. Yesterday, I showed up about 45 minutes early, which A, is highly unusual for me, but B, I figured I'd be waiting for a while. We were in at 3:15 and out by 4:15 in the car. Done. Saw this gentleman. I went in. They called me within 5 minutes. I didn't even have a chance to finish filling out the paperwork. And I was like, wow. They do an EKG and, your little brief history thing. And the doctor came in and he said, well, I can see that, you have dysautonomia, you have Ehlers-Danlos, hypermobility. And he's going down the list. And he's like, well, I can see you've been through a lot. And I'm like, yes. He goes, I'm not going to put you through all that all over again. We talked about the medications. And he said, well, what we're trying to put together is an autonomic dysfunction clinic in Central Florida where we will have all of these doctors under one roof. So you will have, if you have a mast cell issue, there'll be allergists under one roof. If you have Ehlers-Danlos, there will be an Ehlers-Danlos doctor under the roof. If you need infusions, we have infusions under the roof. So basically, they are partnering with Mayo, and they're going to have everything anyone has who has an autonomic dysfunction issue under one roof for you. So if you show up and they say, hey, look, it's your mast cell that's triggering your POTS, go talk to the allergist and get some testing done, and then we'll correlate what your treatment should be. It is going to be one-stop shopping and treatment for people who have autonomic dysfunction. And he also said that they were working out a deal with Publix for a special rate on Corlinor as well. So this is all in the works right now. I think he said it's probably going to be at least another 6 months. So if you go see him and you can get treated, the problem is you're just running around from all these different doctors in the interim until the clinic is built. But once the clinic is built, it's going to be amazing because you'll be able to get everything, one-stop shopping, just like Mayo Clinic. If anybody's been to Mayo, you do everything all at once the same day you're there. No running back and forth. So this is going to be amazing, fabulous, a godsend. I was just over the moon with excitement and stunned all the way home yesterday because I was so happy. So anybody in Central Florida, this is coming. It is coming. It doesn't have a name yet. It's just autonomic dysfunction clinic, and they are going to try to work with UCF somehow also. But it's going to be phenomenal, and it's something that is so desperately needed.
Kudos to him revolutionize. I can't even say the
Yes.
big word right now, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
For him taking a step forward and making such needed changes. And I mean, my God, you deserve a friggin' break, girl. So I'm so thrilled for you. I'm thrilled about the Lenore. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yay.
It was just like an answer to a
It was a
prayer.
godsend.
Not just for me, but for lots of other people, because I'm sure
So many others.
people will travel here like people travel to Mayo, because that's where you got to go. Vanderbilt is the only other place I know of, and there's over a year wait for Vanderbilt. So
Wow. Wow, congratulations. That's got to make your heart feel good. Seriously.
yes.
I am excited about today's episode because you're truly, you were my first disabled friend. When I started the autoimmune group 5 years ago, there were a couple women in that group that I were like, they are fierce. They are badass bitches. I got to have them in my life. And Beth, our first guest on our podcast, is one of those badass bitches. So I can't wait to talk to her and hear her story because it's a doozy. It's a doozy, as they all are.
A little bit.
Hi, gorgeous.
Hi.
Hey, Beth.
Hello. How are you guys?
We're good. I am anyway, today so far.
Breathing.
Yes,
Yes.
that's always
That's
a
what I
positive.
usually like to say when I get asked, how are you? Breathing.
You would have been a great guest last week about our laughter show because between the three of us, I don't know if there's any more sarcastic bitches out there. Between the three of us, I think we've got sarcasm, sass, and just spice all rolled up into three pieces right here. But I just love your attitude, and I'm just happy that you decided to come join us. So thank you for gracing us with your beautiful presence.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. It's funny though, because you said I love your attitude, and I thought instantly my brain went, like when I shut down and don't speak to anybody for 6 months and they all think I'm dead.
And
I don't like burdening people with, like, if I know all I'm gonna do is bitch, then I'm like, I'm just not even gonna bother.
you need the right bitches to bitch to. You need the right bitches to bitch to.
True,
right,
and it's hard because when you haven't had that your entire life, like I never had parents I could talk to or siblings, and I had a habit of attracting narcissistic people, and so I could never talk to anybody about my problems, but it was like I was everybody else's therapist. The second I would say something, it was like, you just need to get over it. So it's like when something's wrong, I don't talk. Nobody ever listened.
Well, if it wasn't for Christine, I would be in the same boat because I grew up the same circumstances as you. And she's truly the first friend that I had that really understood the magnitude of how sick we truly are. And she's been a godsend to me. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel very grateful, but I hear you. I hear you, girl. Talk about being disheartened. I mean, we deal with enough shit from doctors and friends and people that just don't believe us. I'm just curious because I know there's a lot, but when it comes to your doctors, how effing fed up are you?
Let's see. I think I have about 15 or more doctors and specialists.
Right.
Actually, I think
Not
it's more.
average.
And I like we'll say 2.5, 3, because sometimes my PCP was slipping there for a little bit. And what pisses me off about that is because when I first saw her, oddly, I saw her a month before the pandemic hit. So it's like I saw her, she gave me like this stack of papers, like blood work and tests and stuff. But to me, that was like, oh my God, it's amazing because my last PCP, I started getting sick and she dropped me 3 months later. So why'd she drop me? Well, because I have back issues, and about twice a year, she prescribed me oxycodone. And the funny thing about that is it was only like twice a year. So clearly, you know, I'm one of those people that just must not have the like addiction gene, whatever it is, because I never got addicted to them. Even when I had my breast surgery at the hospital, they're like, do you need anything for the pain? And I'm like, no, I've got some leftover from the last time my back went out. If I was a druggie, do you not think I would have taken them up on the offer? So,
yeah.
it's just, to me, it's kind of like an odd coincidence that the CDC report about opiates came out in May of 2016. And I got really sick. It was 2016. 2015. Crap, now I don't remember. I just remember I got really sick and she wouldn't see me. She's like, there's no appointments. Okay, fine. That can be normal when you call the day of. Went to urgent care, found out I had bronchitis and some other stuff. Then called her to do like a follow-up. And they're like, oh, well, she doesn't have any appointments available, blah, blah, blah. Well, I ended up getting sick again, then had to go back to another urgent care. I think that time it was so ridiculous. I was so pissed off. They diagnosed me with what's like the shingles.
Fibro?
That's it. No, shingles. And I'm like, I don't have shingles. Like my ex-father-in-law had shingles. I know what shingles is because I had this pain, like this excruciating pain to where I couldn't even sleep because I couldn't breathe when I was laying down in my back, which would be like the lung area in the back. And it was red because I kept rubbing it a lot. She's like, well, it's really red back there. No shit, I've been rubbing it nonstop for the past 2 days. So she diagnoses me with shingles. Then I finally talk her into a lung x-ray. So I'm sitting there waiting and the girl comes back into the room and she's like, well, your lung's like partially shriveled up. I go, what the hell does that even mean? She goes, well, you have like a partially collapsed lung. What? Send me home. Just send me home.
Send you home.
In the meantime, I've had this. When it comes to sending me home, I have way more doozies than that. So I call my doctor, to discuss. Well, no, actually, I didn't call my doctor yet because I had been putting off. I needed to get another MRI on my lower back, and I had been putting it off because I had been sick since June. This was now August when the whole lung thing happened, and I had been coughing. And I'm like, I can't go get an MRI if I start coughing in the middle of an MRI. So I was putting it off. Finally got it done in August. Then I get a phone call from like the nurse at my doctor's office. And she's like, okay, your MRI came back and it's showing changes. You've now, got arthritis in your spine. She wants you to go to pain management. Like usually when a doctor tells you to go somewhere, they give you like recommendations of where to go. And I'm like, any recommendations? No, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just Google it. Oh, and then I asked her about, what's going on with my lung. Is this something I need to be concerned about? And she's like, oh, well, I don't know if she saw that. Call back.
Oh my God.
So I call back in a couple of days and they're like, oh, she looked over it. She said, it's fine. Just take deep breaths. Okay. So, I end up Googling for like pain management. The second one down, I call and they're like, okay, well, we need a referral from your doctor. Okay, so call the doctor's office. This is where I'm going to go. Can you fax the referral over? And the pain management place said, once we get your referral, it takes about 2 weeks for the doctor to review it. And then we'll give you a call to schedule an appointment. 2 weeks goes by, nothing. So I called them. They're like, oh, well, we never received anything from your doctor. Okay, call the doctor's office. Well, we can't find the place. Seriously?
Excuse me.
I Googled it. It's the second one down. I'm like, can I just come in there and pick up the paper and take it to pain management? They're like, yeah. Went in, picked up the paper, took it to pain management. And they're like, we need more information than this. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Okay, fine. So they're like, don't worry. We'll fax your doctor's office, tell them what we need, and then we'll call you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks goes by. In the meantime, I have an appointment scheduled with my PCP in October. They call and cancel 3 days before the appointment and then reschedule it into like November, whatever. So I'm still dealing with this pain management thing. 2 weeks goes by, again, no phone call. So I call them. We never received anything from your doctor's office. At this point, I'm losing my freaking mind.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wait until my doctor's appointment in November. The day before the appointment, they call and cancel.
Oh my God.
I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm just done. At this point, it's like the beginning of November. I end up having a therapy appointment like the next week. She's like, you need to call and reschedule this appointment. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. Like, they keep canceling my appointments. I'm sick. This is going on. And at this point, this is when all of like everything's starting to build. Because I got really, really sick in 2015. It was end of October, beginning of November. They didn't know what was wrong with me. I was sick for 2 months. I was in and out of the hospital. Ever since then, my health has just gone downhill. So I have this like list. My therapist is like, I want you to write down all of your symptoms, everything that's going on, because you need to take this into your doctor. You know, you've been trying to get in there for the last 6 months. So she makes me call the doctor in her office while I'm in therapy, schedule the appointment. And yes, I remember weird freaking details. Would have been December 15th of 2016. So I go in there and my doctor treats me like I am dog shit. I'm bawling my eyes out. She's acting like, well, where's all this coming from? It's like, you've been canceling all of my appointments. Like, this has been building up. She's like, well, I don't think anything's wrong with you. And I'm like, well, a friend of the family mentioned lupus like back in 2013, because I had symptoms that I had no idea were even symptoms of anything.
Right.
I was just talking about stuff. And she's like, have you ever been tested for lupus? I'm like, what the hell's that? I didn't know. Her mom had lupus, who I knew her mom really well too. And she's like, a lot of what you're describing sounds like the beginning stages of when my mom had lupus. I was like, okay, well, I put it off because I never like saw anything. Like, I had to be really, really bad for me to go to the doctor. So I tell my doctor, you know, like, somebody suggested lupus years and years. Well, you don't have lupus. Okay, well, I'm just saying, like, based off of my symptoms, I think this was what could be go. Well, is it in your family? Does anyone in your family have it? No, not that I know of. But granted, most of my dad's side is completely dead. His parents have been dead since he was a teenager. So who the hell knows what happened on that side of the family? My mom's family is like the textbook of narcissism. And I don't really talk to any of them. They don't really share anything. So I don't know what the hell's going on with any of them. So it's more of like an I don't know. And she's like, well, you don't have it. Sends me to a neurologist. Who, by the way, the first visit with him, I'm telling him my symptoms and he slams his hand down on the desk. I just immediately start crying. So needless to say, 3 months after that appointment, I had called her to tell her my back went out again, because my back regularly went out. I'd say probably like 4 to 7 times a year. Mm-hmm. And usually when my back would go out, I'd call. Sometimes she'd see me. Sometimes she'd just call in, you know, my scripts, which was, you know, muscle relaxers, because I only ever took muscle relaxers when my back would go out, steroids, and then sometimes painkillers, because I would make them last. Because honestly, I hate those things. They constipate me for weeks. Like, I don't like not being able to function. And when you have small kids, it's not ideal. So it's like, I only took them when I absolutely had to. So I called her to tell her my back went out, and they're like, oh, well, you're not a patient here anymore. Excuse me?
Oh.
She's like, well, she can give you some recommendations as who to see, but if you need help, you need to go to the ER. At this point, like, me being in public was a massive, massive trigger for a panic attack. And she knew that. And she wanted me to go sit in the ER waiting room for 3 to 4 hours before I was even seen by people that have no idea what my medical history is. Are you kidding me? So I had to go to the ER, but then I get a letter in the mail. And this was, I called on April 4th. And they're like, oh, well, she had sent you a letter. I'm like, I didn't receive anything. Well, I get the letter in the mail. It was not a certified letter, which by law, it has to be a certified letter when you get dropped by your doctor. And it was dated April 5th, the day after I called. So that was pretty much the moment when I just shut down when it came to doctors. Like,
I don't blame you.
I had lost all trust. because I had loved this doctor. I'd absolutely loved this doctor, you know, and you're taught your whole life, who are you supposed to rely on in the world? You know, your doctors, police officers, the justice system, because let's, you know, the whole disability thing, that's a whole other, you know, trigger of non-trust and stuff like that with that judge. Oh God, I want her to rot in prison after what she did to me. But anyway,
karma, seriously.
Right.
Damn girl.
After everything that's happened to me and the way I've been treated by certain people, and I have yet to see karma come into play, I start to question sometimes, because I definitely do I think I'm just going to start being an asshole and start lying and doing illegal shit, because they're always the ones that seem to just like scoop by and do all right in life.
Okay.
It's the good
You're
ones
too
that
pretty
get
for
screwed.
prison. You're too pretty for prison. Not going to let that happen. So get that out of your pretty
but
little
let's
head.
think about it. Let's think about it. All my meals are made for me. I'd never have to cook again. I wouldn't be snacking all the time, putting on 10, 15 pounds because all my food's portioned and I'm not getting a freaking bag of Doritos at prison, unless, you know, I buy it. But all your medical care is in one place. You don't got to go to 15 different doctors. You're on a set schedule. And see, that's another thing about being chronically ill, is I've always been a person that needs like a routine, like a daily routine. And when you're sick and you have no idea what the next day is going to bring, like a life routine is gone. And I think that's part of the thing that really affects me mentally as well, because
that's why you need
that
to
routine.
file for disability. That you need to set that ball rolling. I don't care. At least
You realize this will be the third time that I'll be starting over from the beginning from disability.
You know what? You got to start somewhere. You have to. I promise you, it's going to happen for you. It has to. You have enough medical background and enough documentation, Beth.
But honestly, the first time I kind of did too. But the judge was just like, yeah, I don't believe you. Like the judge in the like papers that you receive after your hearing and everything, that, you know, the saying you're approved or denied, it was like a 10-page report of why she denied me. The bitch freaking lied, like blatantly lied so many times.
Yes or no?
Yeah. And oddly enough,
about Disability Digest too, Christine.
I would definitely, when I applied, I went through Disability Digest, and this gentleman, Brian Therian, I'm not compensated by recommending him, just so I say that. He is wonderful. This is all he does, and he has a team. That's all they do is disability, and they are fabulous. I get approved in 5 months.
And it's free consult.
First try. Free consult. They'll tell you if they can help you or not. And if they can help you, they'll take your case. If they can't help you,
worth a call.
They will tell you what you need to do so you can proceed on your own. But they are not attorneys. So your stuff doesn't sit on somebody's desk like it does with an attorney until they get around to it.
Well, I didn't get my attorney until like right before my court date, because I applied in the end of 2016. And then I got my first refusal letter. Then I appealed it. Got my second refusal letter, appealed it. Third refusal letter, appealed it. Court date, hired a lawyer. Lawyer dropped the ball. Lawyer dropped the ball so bad that all the judges' lies, I literally came in with a stack of papers to my lawyer's office that were like this thick, that proved everything the judge lied about. Not even to mention the freaking abuse that I received during the hearing. Like I was in a full-blown panic attack in the hearing. Couldn't stop crying, couldn't breathe, couldn't understand what she was saying half the time. Asked if I could ask my lawyer a question as to basically what the fuck the judge means. And the judge is like, no. I'm like, what's the point of a lawyer? Aren't you supposed to be able to like talk with? No, she wouldn't let me. Like it was.
You need to start with one though. Start
like
with
it
a lawyer
was so
from
bad
scratch.
at the end of it, and I'm wondering if like the lady stenographer, whatever the hell she was, already had stopped recording the hearing, because the judge was like, "Has anybody ever said that this is all psychosomatic?" I'm like,
"That's out of line.
No."
That's
I'm like,
completely
who said that? She goes, well, I read it in some of your papers. I'm like, where? She goes, your therapist. So not only did she abuse me throughout the whole thing with the shit she was saying to me, but now she just completely broke my trust in my therapist. I had canceled my appointments. I didn't see my therapist for 3 months after that because I couldn't bring myself to go in there. My therapist lost it when I finally went in there. She's like, no, I didn't. She pulled up a chair and made me sit there with her at her computer and go through all of her notes. She's like, nowhere do I have this written. But yet the judge told me that my therapist did.
You need to start fresh, Beth. I would
Yep.
go to the
I've
disability
started
digest.
fresh twice already. This will be
Yeah,
my
but do
third
it-
time.
Yeah, the
Well, third time's
the
a charm. There's a cliche for a reason.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep.
And actually, you can get
Sorry.
my attorney as well. My attorney is out of state. They will not take your case unless they think you're going to win. There's no risk to you. They do all the work. Granted, it took me a year of hell, but I got approved the first time. I went with the lawyer. At least make these 2 phone calls. It's free, and they don't
Yeah.
take any money
Yeah,
until
talk
you
to
win.
them. Talk to
Yeah.
them both. See who you feel most comfortable working with,
Yep.
because it's important. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't want to proceed.
Yep.
Yeah,
and then
my
make your
first
decision.
meeting with that lawyer, she said to me, literally, she was such a bitch. But she's like, you're not going to get approved. That's what my lawyer said to me. Now, let me tell you, 3 months later after my denial, I get a letter from my lawyer's office, because she was in a practice stating that she was no longer with the firm. I'm like,
Oh, imagine that.
oh, I hope to God I had something to do with that. But like, she's like, you're not going to get approved. And I'm like, how do you know what that even mean? She goes, you're not old enough to get approved.
That has nothing to do with it.
I'm like, oh, I've heard that multiple times. I've even heard that from some of my doctors.
It
Like,
is
isn't that
easier after 50.
discrimination? I'm like,
It is
isn't that
easier
age
after 50.
discrimination? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, but my body did not converse with me when it decided to take a shit.
Just shut
Because if it would have, I would have said no. But it didn't.
Yeah. We need start fresh, new energy. Call
Right.
the disability digest, call the attorney, and go into it with an open mind, because Christine and I both can speak through experience, and we'll guide you through the whole process, and we'll help you out. So you'll at least have us to be like, what are your thoughts? But it's
Right.
worth a phone call. Definitely,
It's just
definitely worth a
really
phone call.
hard because, I mean, it's hard to think I'll ever be approved because nothing has like ever just gone my way for the good in my life.
But you have to believe it's
Ever.
going to.
Right.
You have to believe
That's
it's
the
going
problem
to.
though, is I do every time, and then every time I just get crushed. Like, I have the word hope tattooed on my back shoulder with the butterfly. There are times I'll look at it in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I just want to remove you so bad. That is the worst word in the English language. It's Satan's word. Hope is nothing but hell.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I definitely want to continue this conversation because I think we could talk a lot more. But
yeah, I know.
I
Somebody just needs to write a novel about my life and we'll be done.
how about you? Because you're disabled, why don't you start on that?
Yeah.
No. See, that's
Oh
I
my
wouldn't even know
God.
where to start. It's so bad.
It would be a good cathartic release for you.
It really
To
would
get it
be,
all out
because
on
all that
paper.
trauma, you've
It'd
got
be a
some serious
2,000
medical
page book.
trauma.
So
Well,
what?
then break it up into novels. It could be the
Yeah.
series of Beth series. I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. But anyway, all right. So I want to definitely have you on so we can keep talking about this, because I want to keep it short. But would you come back and talk more?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Because then when I do file for disability, I can just go to the judge. Can you just go watch this podcast and I don't have to talk?
Yes. Yes. Now go drink some wine, go masturbate, whatever you need to do to get that energy out. There you go. And get on with your day.
Unfortunately, I
you,
don't drink
girl.
red wine.
Okay.
But this is my mother, and you know how much I love my mother. She brings red wine over when she comes over, knowing I hate it. So I have bottles just sitting there.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right,
Girl, you
crackhead.
need a
Listen.
break.
Yes.
Don't we
Love
all?
you.
When's our vacation? Love you too.
We're working on it.
All right, hon. We will see you next time, because I want you on again. Well, we want you on again.
Yes.
All right.
I'll be here. I don't have a life.
Bye. Bye, hun. Love
Sending
you.
you.
love.
Bye.
Thanks, Beth.